I think there's way too much focus on the internet about doing this one magical drill that's going to fix everything, or the one exercise that's going to fix this particular issue that you're having. In this video, I want to share with you two very potentially powerful upper body or really total body exercises that I think would be very useful for hikers, trail runners, mountain athletes in general. These are mostly lower limb focused sports, so the majority of the focus generally goes on the lower limb, but I think there's a lot of potential gains to be made by working with the upper body and synchronizing and controlling movement through the upper and lower body. And that's what this is about. If these movements are done well, it will help you coordinate and synchronize movement from the hands all the way through the shoulder, the rib cage, the pelvis, and generate torque from your feet, which is sometimes easier said than done. So in this video, I want to break that down for you in quite a bit of detail. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to share with you a couple of priming kind of exercises that will help you tune into that movement. These might be useful to do beforehand if you're struggling to kind of piece it together. But let's go into the first one and we'll get into more detail later. This is designed to help you connect your feet to a punching and throwing action and this rotation through the rib cage to get a nice kind of synchronous flowing kind of movement through the upper body. Rather than elbow bending and then retracting, we want to have the elbow action and the protraction and retraction action of the shoulder happening synchronously all at the same time. We can do this in a pulling action. We can also do it in a pushing action. Let's do the pulling action first. We will be on the left foot with the band or a cable in the right hand. So a slight bend in the knee. You can either have the whole foot on the ground or you can be in a little bit more of a powerful floating heel position. Totally up to you. In the beginning, it might be nice to just have the whole foot on the ground. So we're essentially going to be throwing a punch and retracting with the band at the same time. How much load you put on this, whether it's a band or a cable, is completely up to you. But we're just trying to use torque from the feet and this rotation through the rib cage to get a nice kind of synchronous flowing kind of movement through the upper body. You should feel good foot contacts, lots of good foot pressure, and that glute should be working to kind of hold you in that position. In order to help you kind of feel connected from the hip into the rib cage, we will breathe out powerfully against pursed lips. So it's And the objective here is to be able to do this quite fast and quite powerfully. But slow reps at first is probably going to be the way to get the body awareness to synchronize it all together. So we can go slow at first. We'll feel that glute driving a lot of the motion. And then when you feel like you've got a good sense for it and you feel like everything is kind of coordinating and synchronizing pretty well, then we can start to maybe add a little bit more resistance with a little bit of power. Slow eccentric, powerful concentric. All of the pressure is on this front foot. This back foot is just here for balance. So that's our pulling action. And then we also have a pushing action as well. I wanted to give you a little bit of a background on how this came together. I had a client, an online client, Grant, visiting me. We'd already laid the foundation pretty well. He did our 3-month coaching introduction and he's made a good deal of progress. We were able to get out on a trail run this morning that was 7 kilometers. And I think that's the first time that Grant's been able to run that distance without having a lot of hip pain or knee pain. But a few days beforehand, we were playing around with some movements in the gym and I was really struggling to find a good rotational movement for him that looked good and felt like it worked really well for his body. His barbell row was fine, but when we did single arm pushing and pulling variations, there was just a bit of a disconnect there. So I was looking to find something that would work for him and help him coordinate that movement. So I slept on it. Then the next day we went to the park with some bands, and this is what I came up with. Now, I'm 100% sure that I didn't develop this movement. I've seen other things before that are similar, but I wanted to share this and put it out there on the internet. Basically, as soon as I filmed it, I'm sharing it with you now. So you've seen the pulling variation already, and the pushing variation is very similar. Same kind of concepts. Let's take a look at it. So in our pushing action, we're again in this case, the left foot, meaning the right hand has the band in it. Powerful breath, connecting the rib cage into the pelvis. If you get pulled off balance, we need to spend a bit of time locking in the end position. So hold that isometric in the end position, feel solid. Really push through the band as much as you can. Let the band retract you without elevating your shoulder. Keep that shoulder down and locked, because we'll feel some lat here. There's a lot going on to kind of coordinate this position. So it can be very thinky. That's why I encourage you to do some fast reps, even if you feel like it's not perfect. Do a couple of faster reps. It actually might help you coordinate it a little better. You might be wondering, well, what has this got to do with hiking? It doesn't have much to do with hiking, but it has a lot to do with just synchronizing mechanics of the shoulder and the rib cage and getting it all to work together. This is a very fundamental movement pattern that we should be able to do as humans. But for many of you, if I've given you this exercise, it's probably just a little clunky in the shoulder. And so mainly we're trying to really get a nice synchronous movement in this throwing action. So it can be very nice for our gait to free up range of motion through the rib cage. Might help to free up your arm swing as well. And it's also just, it's a nice movement that feels quite good to feel your foot to hip connection as you throw that punching action. I would say that pairing these together, 10 reps in the pull, 10 reps in the push, and backing that front to back like that, A and B, would be the way to go. If you feel like it's too much for the glute, you can pair it with another exercise. There is so much going on in that. So much going on in it, but I think it's a fun one to explore. This is pretty similar to the kind of stuff that you see in functional patterns. I'm not a disciple of functional patterns, but I think a lot of the stuff that they put out there is potentially very valuable, especially when it comes to people with scoliosis or just complex biomechanical issues, people that are having trouble synchronizing and getting smooth, coordinated movement. And if you're the kind of person who's looking for smooth, coordinated movement and better athleticism in general, then I think this kind of stuff is hugely valuable. So these movements can obviously just be done with a band, but I think there's a lot of potential in being able to do it with a cable machine. The thing with the cable machine is that it's constant tension, meaning that the load and force doesn't really change throughout the movement. Whereas with a band, the further you get to the end of the band, the more load and resistance there is. And that can be valuable in itself, but in terms of feeling like the movement is good and consistent, I think probably a cable machine in a gym is a little bit better in a lot of cases. The cable allows you to really dial into the amount of load and allows you to pick a weight that you can do the movement really well without that load tolerance kind of increasing as you go through the movement. And on top of that, obviously you can just load the crap out of this and just get really strong in the movement. So this is not an easy drill. It's a complex movement that many people may struggle with the coordination aspect. So here I wanted to add a couple of priming drills that I did with Grant just to help him get that synchronized movement through the shoulder and the rib cage. And I think that'll be very useful for a lot of people. So let's have a look at those. Okay, this is a little priming sequence for the scapula just to feel some good protraction and retraction of the shoulder. Grant, if you come around behind me, you can see that I'm kind of pulling back my shoulder into retraction. Now, what sometimes happens with people is that when they retract, it's clunky and it's not smooth and it's not controlled and the shoulder comes up. So in that case, what we want to do is feel like the shoulder mainly stays down, keeping the elbow straight, And we're trying to feel a little bit of lat here. So more downwards movement of the shoulder will help you kind of connect into your lat. And it's not like we're trying to experience the most retraction that we can possibly get, because most people can easily get a lot of retraction. What we're trying to do is get the lat to contribute to some of that retraction. So straight elbow, pulling back, maybe 20 reps. It's going to feel pretty easy, but we're just going to glide through that movement quite nice and slow. When you start to get a bit of a sense for controlling it, we can come onto one foot. So we're going to have a slightly bent knee, good foot pressure. Elbows still straight. And on the eccentrics, we're not just relaxing and letting the band pull the shoulder forward. We're going to fight against that eccentric band pulling mechanism. So it's retract, slow through the eccentric. Retract, slow through the eccentric. Don't feel like you need to go all the way through the range of motion. It's not necessary. What we're trying to do is feel more activation and control throughout the range of motion that you have. You could probably get more range of motion, but then weird stuff is going to start happening to the shoulder. So we want to keep that. Might be nice to have that hand on the lat and just feel a little bit of that lat contributing to the retraction. So if it's too much to think about, you can just start with both feet on the ground, and that will allow you to just think about the shoulder. When it starts feeling good, then we can come onto one leg. And if you feel like you need to solidify certain positions that don't feel so good, the way that we're going to do that is just a little bit of an isometric hold. The hold for about 10 or 20 seconds. Just feel like you've locked in that position and it's good. We've got lat on, we've got shoulder down, elbow straight. And then we can go back into our reps. So that's straight elbow, shoulder protraction and retraction. Okay, bent elbow, protraction and retraction. You can do this with a band, you can do it with a cable machine, up to you. I think probably best scenario is with a cable machine, but with a band is absolutely fine. We're just going to retract, keeping the shoulder down, getting the elbow behind you. Non-working hand on the rib cage will help. And we're trying to pattern in a good shoulder movement without the shoulder popping up. So we're going to keep that shoulder down. When you're in this retracted position, you might feel a little bit of pec because we're pulling that elbow backwards. Then we're going to let the band pull you forwards without letting the shoulder come up. And we want to feel heavy through our feet, like we've got good foot contacts on the ground. Common mistakes that we will see with this is people will use their spine to do the movement. So Grant, if you come around this way, what we don't want to see, and what you'll see in my old videos, is like lots of arching through the back. So we want to maintain a fairly kind of neutral spine and feel comfortable and have the shoulder do the movement without opening the chest and lifting the sternum and arching the back. We want to keep the rib cage and the spine fairly still and just focusing on the movement of the shoulder. This is a primer and a warm-up drill for you to feel like you've got good retraction and protraction of the scapula. A little bit of a progression will be then getting onto one foot. When we're on one foot with a slightly bent knee, you'll start to have a little bit more of a sense of your foot pressure and a little bit more rotation. So now you can see that I'm starting to actually rotate into the spine a little bit more. I'm not extending through the back and opening the sternum. Aiming to keep the rib cage kind of locked down and getting as much protraction and retraction as I can without that shoulder popping up. For people that really struggle to coordinate the rib cage and the shoulder and the scap and the elbow all together, this could potentially be a very valuable priming drill in order to get the most out of the main variations. And progressing these movements is really simple. You just load it up more, either with a thicker band or more weight if you're doing it on a cable machine. I think there's way too much focus on the internet about doing this one magical drill that's going to fix everything, or the one exercise that's going to fix this particular issue that you're having. And actually, I think what's more valuable is experimenting with things that are complex, staying curious, and just generally having this mindset of fun and exploration and dialing it in and getting better at it, rather than trying to find one exercise that's going to fix everything. And if you are looking for a coach to help not only program for you, but to have useful discussions and things to explore that are designed to help you connect and coordinate your body from the ground up, then I would love to help you. You can check out the first link in the description and get a free assessment, either with myself or one of my team, and we build out your programming based off what we see in your assessments. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. Grab a band, try it out, let me know how you go. This is Chase Mountains. I'll see you on the summit.